Welcome back to the Be the Exception educational series. In this third part, we are tackling a huge question that so many of us run into. How do you stay on fire for your goals when it feels like the whole world around you is just lukewarm?
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really nailing down a struggle I think we all feel. Then we'll introduce a powerhouse principle to completely flip the script. We'll use a really cool analogy, tear down the whole victim mentality, and then we'll even talk about how this all applies when life throws its worst at you.
All right, let's just get right into it. The big question is this: how do you keep that fire, that ambition, burning bright when you look around and it feels like everyone else is just content with average?
You know, this question from Eddie just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's that feeling like you're trying to sprint, but everyone around you is just strolling. You have these big dreams, but your environment just seems to be whispering, hey, just calm down, be like us. It can be incredibly frustrating.
So, what's the answer? Well, here's the thing. It's not about trying to change everybody else. Nope. It's about a radical shift inside you. It all starts with one single, incredibly powerful principle.
100%. Let that sink in for a second. We're not talking 99.9. We're talking absolute, total 100%. But 100% of what?
Self-responsibility. This is the idea. This is the bedrock, the foundation that gives you back all the power over your own life, no matter what is going on outside of you.
And this is where it gets really powerful. See, you got to understand, external stuff, events, what people say, it's all just data. It has no meaning until you give it meaning. So yeah, you can't control the traffic jam, that's a given, but you absolutely 100% can control whether you walk into work fuming and angry or if you just take a deep breath and move on. That right there is your choice.
And this really lays out the two paths, doesn't it? On one path, you can sit around and wait for the world to inspire you, but if you do that, you're in big trouble. You're basically a puppet, right? Just waiting for someone else to pull the strings. But the other path, the one where you decide your fire is your own, the moment you really get that, man, you're free.
Okay, to really hammer this home, I've got a great analogy for you. Let's dig into it.
You've probably heard this phrase before. It's an ancient idea, but it's so perfect for what we're talking about. You can be in this world, but not of this world. What does that actually mean? It means you have to live in your environment, but you don't have to let it seep into you and change who you are.
Think about it like this. A fish spends its entire life swimming in saltwater. It's totally surrounded 24/7. But if you catch that fish and cook it up, what do you have to do? You have to add salt. Why is that? Because the fish never lets the salt in. It lives in that salty world, but it doesn't become salty itself. That's who you have to be.
So here's the bottom line. You are the gatekeeper to your own mind. The negativity, the indifference, all that stuff that's out there, it can't get in unless you open the door and invite it in. You are in control of what you absorb.
All right, so this brings us to what might be the most liberating and honestly the most challenging idea of them all. It means you have to completely reject a role that's become super popular in our culture today.
Yeah, this is a hardline stance, for sure, but it's absolutely crucial for taking back your power. It's about looking at every part of your life and deciding right here and now that you are no longer a victim of anything. Look, if we're living in a free society, then everything in our life is there because of a choice we made at some point. That job you hate, you chose to take it. The relationships you're in, you chose to let those people in. And listen, if someone is treating you badly, it only continues because you're choosing to tolerate it. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also where your power is. And this is so important. Your attention is your life force. It's literally the most valuable currency you have. And the best part? You have 100% control over it. You decide who gets it. Do you give it to people who build you up or people who drain you dry? Just walking away, withdrawing that currency, that's one of the most powerful things you can ever do.
Okay, I know what some of you might be thinking right now. You're thinking, this all sounds great, but what about the really, truly awful stuff? The things that are definitely not our fault?
And you're right. That's a completely fair question. Because of course, nobody chooses to be abused. Nobody chooses to get a horrible disease or be in a terrible accident. To even suggest that would be insane. So where does this 100% responsibility idea fit in then?
And here it is. This is the key distinction. You can't always control what happens to you. Life is messy and unfair sometimes. Bad things happen.
But you can always, and I mean always, control how you choose to respond to it. The power was never in controlling the event. The power is and always will be in controlling your response.
So after something terrible happens, after you've felt the pain, the grief, the unfairness of it all, there's only one question that gives you your power back. And it's just 2 words. Now what? See how that shifts everything? It takes you out of the past that you can't change and puts you right in the driver's seat of your future. It turns you from a victim into the main character again.
When you really get down to it, feeling trapped by your past, by your environment, by anything, it's like being in a prison cell. But here's the amazing, liberating truth. You're the warden. You have the keys in your pocket. You can unlock the door and walk free whenever you choose. It's all a choice. Okay, so understanding all of this is step 1. But we all know that knowing something and doing something are 2 different worlds. Putting this into action, that's where the magic really happens. And that's exactly what we're going to get into in our final part.
In our next and final part of this series, we're kicking off a 5-day challenge. I'm going to lay out the 5 core commitments you need to make to truly be the exception. We're going to talk about how to finally turn the tide in your life and start a real, deep, interpersonal transformation.
Look, this isn't the easy path, but it's the path to freedom. So the real question for you is, are you ready to take that 100% responsibility? Are you ready to unlock your own cell and finally become the exception? I can't wait to see you there for the challenge.